Here we go, Geometry View, Chapter 6 for the final. So, first one is telling us this is an octagon. It's asking for what's the value of n. So we have to figure out the missing length, or missing angle. First, though, we have to figure out how many degrees all the angles add up to. So the total sum is, if you remember, this equation right here. The other thing you could do, if you remember, we could draw in our triangles. So a triangle here, triangle here. If you can't remember the equation, you can always draw in your triangles and then multiply however many triangles you have by 180. In this case, it would be 8 minus 2, which is 7, not 7, 6 times 180. So the total sum is equal to 1080. So what I have to do to figure out n is I have to subtract all of these from 1080. So if you do 1080 minus each one of these, you would get 140 degrees. Here. Now there's multiple ways that you could do this one. It says find the measure of the marked angle in the tessellation. All of these are regular polygons. Two ways that you could go about doing this. You could figure out the angle here in the regular triangle, which we know is 60 already because that's an equilateral triangle, and then add the angle here to it. That's one way you could do it. You could also figure out this angle right here and then do the fact that one circle is equal to 360 and subtract that. Either way, we have to figure out what one angle in this polygon is equal to. First, we have to figure out how many sides we have. Because in this shape, it looks almost like a circle, I always put a tick mark when I'm counting. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So number of sides are 12 sides. So that would be, if I'm looking for my total sum first, 12 minus 2 times 180 would be equal to 1,800. Now that's all the angles added up. If I'm looking for just one angle, I have to divide that by 12. So if I do 1,800 divided by 12, I would get that one angle is equal to 150. And if you were to mark B, that would be wrong because it's asking for this angle. So again, either you have to do 360, because that's a full circle, subtract 150, or you can do this angle right here, which is 60 plus 150. Either way you do it, you should get 210. C. Question 3. In a parallelogram, it says that angle B and D are 39. So this is 39 and this is 39. Find the measure of FCE. FCE. So it's looking for this angle right here. Well, this angle will be congruent to this angle because of the fact that those are vertical. And in a parallelogram, consecutive angles are equal to 180. So I can do 180 minus 39, and I would get 141. And which statement is false? All squares are rhombuses. Well, that is true, because if it's a square, that means all the sides are equal, meaning it's a rhombus. All quadrilaterals are parallelograms. This is false. Quadrilateral means that it has 4 sides. It does not say that the opposite sides are congruent. So B would be false. Let's just check the other two just to make sure. All trapezoids are quadrilaterals. Yes, trapezoids have 4 sides. All rectangles are parallelograms. Yes, all rectangles have opposite sides are parallel, making it a parallelogram. Question 5 is telling us that this is an isosceles trapezoid. So these two are congruent. It's asking for what is the measure of angle D, B, C. So this angle right here. What we have to remember in an isosceles trapezoid, only when it's isosceles, these two angles are the same and these two angles are the same. First thing I know then, that this is going to be 25 because of these two parallel lines that makes that Z. This is also going to be 25 because it's an isosceles trapezoid, because this is right here, it would be an isosceles triangle. So these two would be the same. So there's 2 ways you can figure this out. Now that I know these 2 angles, I could either say that these 2 angles are consecutive. So that means that these 2 angles add up to 180. Or I could use this triangle right here And all those angles add up to 180 as well. Either way you slice it, this is going to be equal to 180 minus 25 minus 25 minus 35, which would be equal to 95. One thing about this picture, it does not look like a 95-degree angle. Never base it off the picture, base it off of the map. The last question, classify this triangle. You can tell. You can always tell, especially when it gives you these points. You are going to have to find the length of each side. So by using the distance formula, what I personally did is wrote down my points first, and then I wrote down the 3 lengths that I had to find the distance of, and then I found the distance. Remember, I personally leave them as the square root because it's easier to compare. 2 of my side lengths of the 3 are congruent. Since 2 side lengths are congruent, that is isosceles, B as in boy. And there you have it, chapter 6. Review done, right? Yep. Have a great, grand, wonderful day.